Story 1. Avoiding conflict. For a long time, I believed I was helping others by being nice and keeping the peace. I thought that by not engaging in conflict, I was reducing harm to those around me. Now, at nearly 40, I experience panic attacks when I ask my team members to do their jobs instead of doing all their work for them. Story 2. Keeping constant track of all the negative aspects of your life while neglecting the positive will gradually erode your mind and brain if you only focus on the bad. Story 3. Procrastination offers no opportunities for later. There is no way to dig out, only a pit of tasks you have not completed, tasks you know you could accomplish with minimal effort or time. Yet you have not done them, and what could have taken you an hour now accumulates under 10 hours of other unfinished work. It is a lonely situation, and it can be difficult to seek help. Story 4. For me, it was difficult to stay consistent with my 30-minute daily walk. Depression took over during the winter. I am back on track now. Story 5. I had a therapist once who told me to write a list of everything I wanted in an ideal partner. I did, and she then asked me how many of those things I do or have. I realized how little I take care of myself or show myself love in ways that aren't always easy but are vital for a happy, sustainable life. I need a consistent sleep schedule, better time management, and to respond to texts and emails promptly. I have indulged in anxiety, drank too much, and not eaten enough or even had food in my fridge. I work hard to stay fit, count calories, and do all the skincare routines, but it's all for show. I'm not truly happy, and I feel like once I hit 40, all those unhealthy behaviors I try to hide from others will start to show. Loving yourself is not just a feeling but an action. Story 6. Consuming too much of one thing can destroy your mental health. Excessive television, social media, unhealthy food, and pornography can have negative effects. Story 7. Sounds silly, but I figured I would choose an unconventional approach. Showering in the morning. I was diagnosed with depression as a preteen, and it was already a significant effort to get out of bed. The thought of having to drag myself into the shower before I could do anything seemed hopeless. Showering at night and sleeping in a protective hairstyle helped me avoid dealing with tangles in the morning, which motivated me to get out of bed. I also keep my makeup bag and a mirror next to my bed, allowing me to wake up slowly while sitting up in bed and doing my makeup. Story 8. Holding in issues you have with people prevents resolution and often stems from miscommunication. It leads to grudges against your friends, which is not worth it. Story 9. Don't be a hero. Take the medicine. When you don't take it, you are only hurting yourself. You're not weak. You need help, and it's okay to need help. We didn't get this far without supporting one another. Story 10. Sitting on social media, creating content, and watching other people's reels on Instagram or TikTok can lead to comparing your life with others. Story 11. Getting too involved with online causes and rhetoric can be addictive and damaging to those who participate in it. I have observed people direct extreme hostility toward each other, devoid of empathy or humanity. They feel justified because their social cause is just and right, but that feels wrong to me. I have seen this on all sides of the political spectrum. I noticed it in myself during a particular news topic that was emotional and widely debated on social media. I found myself eagerly awaiting a response to a comment and felt smug and satisfied when I got to respond in a way that proved someone wrong. I noticed my behavior in real life changed. I became snarkier and more combative. So I stopped. I left Twitter, and I noticed I was much less angry. Reddit is certainly not helpful in this regard. Some communities act as echo chambers, heightening that sense of us versus them. There's a place for social activism. Protesting, speaking to friends and family, and attending in-person talks and lectures. But how many well-regarded social heroes and activists hide behind unpleasant, anonymous writing? None. The worst part is the cognitive dissonance. The most problematic individuals will read this comment and dismiss it because they believe it definitely does not apply to them, arguing that what they support is simply good morals while casting a negative vote. Story 12. Doom scrolling and excessive phone engagement can be damaging. If I have children, I will ensure they do not end up like me. Story 13. Either install your work email on a personal phone or get a company laptop or phone as your primary device. Additionally, consider the following. 1. Skipping lunch to continue working or eating at your desk. Habitually staying late. Completing tasks after you get home. Working during weekends when you have a standard work schedule. Story 14. Parasocial relationships with celebrities or influencers can be misleading. You do not know these individuals, and they are likely trying to sell you something. Focus on your own life instead of a famous stranger's. Story 15. Any hobbies that don't involve going out are probably not good for me. I still don't go out except for work. Story 16. Drinking. Honestly, it becomes so ingrained in your life that it's hard to imagine life without it. It's global, I feel like. Story 17. Resisting sleep can disrupt your body's natural urge and rhythm. This disruption can lead to issues that may only become noticeable as you age. Story 18. Creating false scenarios in your mind can slowly take over your real life. Eventually, you may realize that you have jeopardized your life by trying to escape from reality and avoiding what you need to do. Story 19. Prayer involves acknowledging one's flaws without self-deprecation and seeking guidance and support from God in addressing life's challenges. Story 20. Reading political news, I wake up with a clean slate. No matter where I go, there's news and social media doom scrolling, water cooler discussions, and family sharing of doom and gloom. I've tried to stop caring, tune it out, and get outside for a while, but then there are protests, flags waving, people with political hats and shirts, and individuals criticizing those with electric vehicles. This is all so depressing. I miss when politics wasn't a cultural identity and when one person winning the election over another seemed rather unimportant because checks and balances, along with voting, kept things balanced. I could wake up and hear that we legally torture innocent people, bomb a new country, or abolish the Constitution altogether, and it really wouldn't be surprising. That's a sick feeling. Story 21. Blocking people and quickly cutting them out of your life, as well as the opposite, keeping people in your life solely because you love them or they are family, can be impulsive choices. Some individuals are genuinely toxic or abusive, and it's essential to remove them from your life before they negatively impact you. However, many people today tend to block or cut others out at the slightest provocation. It's crucial to manage conflict, disagreements, and perspectives that differ from your own. Story 22. Self-isolation. The world moves on without you. It's easy for time to slip away, and before you know it, years have passed that you will never get back. Eventually, you forget how to be a person. You're alone with no support system and nobody to help you ease back into life when you're ready. So you stay stuck. When you feel able to be out in the world again, there is no place for you, and it is so hard to fit in anywhere. You will always feel like an outsider and will have intense regret for the life you lost and wasted away. I isolated myself from the world from ages 18 to 25. My youth was wasted in bed all day. Now, as regret has hit and I'm in a place where I want to live again, I don't have the resources to do it. I have no friends to talk to, no friends to do things with, and nowhere to go. Originally, I was alone intentionally. Now I am forced to be alone when I no longer want to be. I still struggle with being a functional human being because I was out of practice for so long. I have nothing. I am slowly rebuilding, but now each loss hits that much harder when it was the only thing I had. I am grasping onto anything I can as a lifeline, but it feels like it's just causing more damage. Story 23. Bed rotting. Move your body for at least 20 minutes a day, and you'll be fine. However, I find it challenging to motivate myself to do almost anything when I am alone. Story 24. Porn has ruined my life. I am 19 years old, have no friends, no social circle, no girlfriend, and I am still a virgin. If any teenagers are reading this, please do not watch porn. Story 25. Entertainment in general takes up more of our time because it serves as an easy filler. However, we were never meant to be entertained constantly. Story 26. TikTok, I hate to admit it. The longer I spend on that app, the worse my anxiety gets. It is designed to recognize your triggers and encourage interaction, keeping you engaged. Story 27. Not having and not creating any boundaries has been a significant issue for me. I never had boundaries in any of my relationships, which became a habit. I am fortunate to have met a friend who helped me realize that my long-term friendships were unhealthy and that I had no boundaries with them. They never accepted no as an answer, and when they did, they ended up annoyed. I consistently prioritized their needs over mine and cried after every call. They made me feel inadequate, always believing they were right about everything and that I was wrong. They never listened to my advice on how to run their business, and now their business is out of operation. After recognizing these patterns, I communicated that I did not want to continue our friendships and ended them. I left the group and other social media interactions I was involved in, deleted their phone numbers, and moved on. This situation severely impacted my mental health. I felt depressed, self-critical, and stressed. However, despite still struggling with other issues, I am now significantly happier than before. I would prefer to be alone than associate with people like them. Part of the blame lies with me for lacking boundaries. Moving forward, I feel more equipped to establish healthier relationships, whether romantic or platonic. Story 28. Many people underestimate the damage that marijuana can cause. While it is certainly a less harmful vice than cocaine or methamphetamine, it still carries potential risks, can consume your life and drain your energy. Story 29. Instagram is a toxic presence. I deleted it about 2 months ago, and it's been wonderful. I don't think anyone should know what every single person they've ever met is going through at every moment of every day. It's too much. Story 31. Venting about other people feels valid in the moment, but then I start to feel guilt and worry about whether the person I was venting to found me annoying, will misinterpret what I said, or will not trust me in the future. Ensuring I trust the listener is part of it, but even still, venting in general can make it easier for my mind to focus on negativity. As an external processor, I've been trying to vent in a private voice note or in a journal entry and then move on without the need for someone to reply or validate me. Staying extremely busy is another issue. It is often done in the name of wanting to live life to the fullest or be productive. It can serve as a distraction from the discomfort of my own thoughts and insecurities, and it can lead to defining myself by my hobbies and activities. It may be a sign of trouble if I can't be still, be in silence, and be alone. As an introvert, I need to be careful about the opposite, getting too comfortable with staying inside and canceling plans in the name of self-care. Story 31. With texting, messaging apps, and all the communication features built into social media, it feels like people have constant access to us at all times. We were not meant to be this available. It's overwhelming, and over time, it chips away at our boundaries, our ability to disconnect, and even our peace of mind. There's very little space left to just exist quietly without interruption, and that kind of stillness is something we all need more of. Story 32. Your mind is constantly exposed to negativity from the people around you, your environment, social media, or your own thoughts. Story 33. Daydreaming and multitasking. While working, I find it hard to focus on one thing because my mind tends to wander. Story 34. Letting others define who you are and not standing up for yourself will ultimately lead to your downfall. Story 35. Isolating yourself to avoid getting hurt can lead to more challenges. I did it because I was tired of rejection. Now I have even fewer social skills and can barely have normal interactions. Story 36. Thinking too much about people in your past does not matter and will never matter, especially if you will never see or talk to them again. Story 37. Being around people who speak negatively about others all the time took a major toll on me until I cut those individuals out of my life. Now I feel better and at peace. Story 38. I assume I am always the problem, even if that is not the case, and I push everyone away. However, being alone is definitely not fun. Story 39. Comparing your life to others on social media who may also be presenting a facade of perfection. Story 40. Constantly checking your phone first thing in the morning may feel harmless, but it gradually increases anxiety, diminishes focus, and establishes a negative tone for your day. Story 41. Many studies show how detrimental pornography is for us, yet people defend it more fiercely than a wealthy teenager with a vaping issue. Story 42. Pornography provides a dopamine release similar to that experienced during sex but lacks the bonding element. This can lead to social isolation, as individuals may find it easier to seek fulfillment without the effort required in real-life relationships. It creates unrealistic expectations of partners, normalizes abusive sexual behavior, and can contribute to issues such as impotence in healthy men, as real women often do not resemble pornography performers. Story 43. Drinking and drug use can alter your dopamine receptors, leading to the acceptance of chemical stimuli that activate your happy switch. However, habitual use can result in the loss of everything that makes us human over time. Story 44. Not being able to stop unauthorized access to my Neuralink by certain individuals, including law enforcement and healthcare workers, who misuse the device for harm and mistreatment. Story 45. Scrolling on TikTok specifically makes me feel bad. Whenever I'm on Instagram Reels, I'm in a good mood. However, when I'm on TikTok, even though I no longer have depressing videos on my For You page, there's just something about it that always brings down my mood. Story 46. Having a drink to relax after work, on weekends, or when you can't sleep, you get the point. Story 47. Endless amounts of television lead to endless hours of staring at a screen and doing nothing productive. While it may feel good in the moment, afterwards it often leaves you with a sense of emptiness. I have been trying to cut back on television to just a couple of episodes a day and replacing it with movies instead. Story 48. Reading too much, especially when it's angsty, can have negative effects. You might be thinking, how can reading be bad? I read 2 to 3 books a week at least, often putting off necessary tasks in order to read. Could be worse, but it has become seriously problematic. Story 49. Being a human burrito is nice and cozy for a couple of days. Before I know it, I would rather be a burrito than talk to anyone or do anything. Then I slowly fall into depression. Story 50. Having sarcasm, irony, and facetiousness as your go-to reply for everything will make others wary about whether you are being genuine or not. Eventually, you may find it difficult to tell the difference yourself. Story 51. Making a specific number of taps on the table when sitting down for a meal or snack, or engaging in routines that become daily staples for no reason, can seem unusual. In short, any harmless habits, no matter how innocent they may appear, do not need to be followed religiously. We should ensure that we do not become anxious when changing them up. Of course, time-tested techniques and procedures, such as the best barbecue sauce recipe or that special shortcut known only to you, are exempt. Story 52. Drinking alcohol raises your cortisol levels when sober, which can make you feel chronically stressed. Being stressed all the time, aside from making you miserable, can lead to severe health issues. Story 53. Brooding or dwelling on past wrongs inflicted on you can be detrimental. Those voices in your head do not serve a purpose. It is time to silence them. Story 54. Digital friendships and remote work as a young person in a dull town or suburb with no interesting public spaces can feel isolating, especially when you haven't yet found a partner, can lead to social withdrawal. Story 55. Not cleaning your space creates a mess. When you say, "I'll get to it later," it can turn into a source of depression and anxiety. Story 56. Gaming. I love gaming and didn't think it was the cause of my poor mental health. I actually thought it was one of the things that made me feel happier. However, once I quit gaming and started engaging in more productive activities, I began to feel much better about myself. I still play games occasionally, but not nearly as much as I used to. Story 57. Video games can be a total distraction. They can interfere with your reward systems and make it difficult to engage in productive activities. Story 58. Joking about things that can harm your mental health and excessive self-deprecation can be damaging. Repetition legitimizes these thoughts. If you joke about not trusting people enough, it can lead to genuine trust issues. If you joke about being unattractive, you may start to act as if you are unattractive, which can reinforce those feelings. It's something that sneaks up on you. One moment it feels harmless, and the next you find yourself struggling socially, questioning what has happened to you. It's an existential ambush. Story 59. Maladaptive daydreaming is something I struggle with significantly now. Initially, it was just innocent stories and scenarios I would think of when I was bored, but it has unintentionally become something that occupies an excessive amount of my time and focus. Story 60, joking about my weight. I'm not that heavy, but I could still be a lot healthier. I joke with my friends about being big, but it kind of gets to me sometimes. Story 61, alcohol is a depressant, yet people often try to use it to escape their feelings of depression, which ultimately leads to more depression. Story 62, isolation can hinder our desire to be social by making us reluctant to spend extended periods outside. Story 63, I believe isolating yourself from others can be challenging. There was a time when I would only talk to the grocery cashier in an entire week, and that was difficult. Story 64, scrolling through social media and checking your phone first thing in the morning feels relaxing. You might be half wrapped in your blanket, scrolling through Instagram, checking emails, or watching a TikTok. Seems harmless, but it puts your mind in chaos mode before you've even brushed your teeth. You instantly enter comparison mode, experience information overload, and sometimes feel work stress, even though your day hasn't truly begun. Story 65. As soon as I got rid of Facebook, which I invested too much of my time in, and once the election cycle ended, I felt miserable. It seemed like people forgot how to be human. I found that I have no desire to be on Facebook except to follow friends and use the marketplace. I maybe spend an hour on it each week. Story 66. I am addressing something simple. Not putting items back in their proper places and not storing things away after use. For me, clutter significantly impacts my mental health, and trying to remember where I put something is frustrating. Those small decisions to do the dishes later or to place an item on the table instead of returning it to the drawer really accumulate and ultimately make my mind feel as cluttered as my home. Story 67. Thinking too much about the future can be harmful, especially if you are in a stressful situation. Everyone should consider the future, but excessive worry can be detrimental. Story 68. Being good at your job means you will receive more work without additional compensation because you can deliver results while others do the bare minimum and still earn the same amount as you. Story 69. Speaking negatively about yourself, such as saying, "I am stupid" when something goes wrong, will impact your self-perception in the long term. Story 70. Staying up late and not getting enough sleep not only ruins your energy that night, but also saps your energy the next day. Story 71. Super specific, but short-form video-focused social media. Reddit and Pinterest do not affect me negatively in the same way Instagram and TikTok did when I had them. Story 72. Doom scrolling has affected my potential. I could have acquired 4 more college degrees and owned 2 businesses if it weren't for my cravings for instant gratification. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.